it's Nevada. Welcome back to my channel. So this is an updated concealer routine, and the reason I did an updated concealer routine is because I have a few different techniques that I've been using that I absolutely love for my under eyes. The basic ideas are the same as the previous video, you know, color correcting, concealer, setting powder, but the way I use it, the brushes I use, my baking method, it's all a little bit more different, and I find that it really works to make sure that your dark circles do not peek through no matter how long you're out. So if you want to see how to cover up your dark circles, please just keep watching. So the first step is going to be moisturizing underneath your eyes. I'm going to be using the Dermadoctor Eye Souffle, which is a really intensive eye cream. It's very moisturizing, and for this you're just going to want to pat it into your eyes. Make sure that you're not rubbing or moving the skin in any way, you're just gonna pat it in. So once your eye cream has kind of soaked in completely, I'm gonna go straight into my color correcting. So one of my newer techniques is that I like to use both the orange and the green NYX color correctors. The reason I use both colors is because orange is supposed to get rid of purple and kind of like dark brown black pigmentation, and green gets rid of redness. So ever since I started doing this, like, there has been nothing peeking through my concealer. It's been really great. So what I do is I apply the orange concealer first, basically into the inner corners and kind of anywhere that I have the purple discoloration. After that, I will go in with the green concealer and kind of blend it in with the orange concealer and make my way outwards. Then I'm just going to pat the product in with my finger, and you kind of want to make sure that you rub your fingers together just to warm it up, because it makes it a lot easier for it to blend out. So this is the products blended out, and as you can see, the discoloration is basically all covered up. And the next step is going to be foundation. I'm going to be using the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and I'm going to be blending it in with my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. The key to this is that when you're putting your foundation on, really make sure that you're patting it in and you're not rubbing around the product, especially around your eyes. Make sure you're not moving the sponge side to side. Make sure you're just pressing it in and kind of like dabbing and bouncing it on your skin. Okay, so this is with foundation, and you can see that a little bit of the orange is still peeking through, and that's okay. The reason I don't use a lot of foundation underneath my eyes is because too much product underneath your eyes is going to cause the fine lines and creases to be more pronounced. So there's no reason to put that much foundation under there because you're going to be using concealer on top of that. I'm going to be using the NYX Concealer Wand in the shade CW04. If you're doing full face makeup, go ahead and use a more full coverage concealer, something like the Tarte Maracuja, which is my personal favorite. For more of a daily basis, my new favorite has been this NYX concealer. It lasts really long, and it has a nice brightening effect to your face. So if you can get your hands on the NYX concealer wand, I think it's $4.99, definitely I recommend it. So I'm going to apply this in all the usual spots, underneath my eyes in a somewhat triangle shape, down the bridge of my nose, a little bit on my forehead, and a little bit on my chin. Okay, so my next kind of new technique that I've been loving a lot is using a foundation brush. So this little guy comes in like every brush packet that you use, and if you're like me, I hate it. I never found a use for this. I never liked it until I started using it for my concealer. So this has been great, and I'm going to show you guys how I use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to blend it out one eye at a time and then set it with powder right away. The powder that I'm going to be using is the Sacha Buttercup Setting Powder, which is a yellow toned powder. So I like to just have my powder ready, and then I'll blend out my concealer. So to blend out my concealer, I'm basically using this foundation brush and kind of like patting the product in and pulling it down at the same time. It's a motion that you can really only do with this type of flat brush. And I don't know why, I just have fallen in love with the way it blends out my concealer, and I really just like it. So when I'm done blending it out, I'm going to make sure that there are no creases under there. So one more time, I'm just going to go in and pat away all the creases and fine lines, and then immediately set it with my powder. Underneath my eyes, I'm using a consistent patting motion, and this is just making sure that the product is really setting in underneath there. So since this product on the other side has been waiting for a really long time, it might be drying out a little bit. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to take my rose water spray and spray my brush just a little bit and go ahead and do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to blend it all out completely and immediately go in with my setting powder. So real quick, I wanted to mention that this brush that I'm using is the e.l.f. blush brush, As you can see, it has kind of like a diamond shape and it tapers up this way, and it also tapers in thickness. And I found this to be the best under eye setting powder brush so far. I've used quite a few brushes for underneath my eyes. I know a lot of people like the Real Techniques brush, but for some reason, I just don't think anything compares to this one. So this is $3. If you can find it at a drugstore, definitely get it. It's the e.l.f. Blush Brush. If you do want to bake on top of this, what I recommend is setting your powder first the way I did, like this. You can set with a colored powder, like a yellow powder, or you can set with a translucent powder, and then wait. Wait while you're doing like your bronzer and your blush or something like that, and then go in and do your usual baking method. So right now, I'm gonna quickly do my bronzer while this setting powder just takes a little bit more time to soak in, and then do the baking. So this guy right here is the Tressetique bronzer stick, and it's a product that they sent me, and I have been absolutely loving it. It is so easy to use, and it comes with its own little brush on the back side of it. So it's like a one-step process. I will probably do a more in-depth review about it later on, but I just wanted to show you guys how much I love it and how easy it is to use. Alright, so at this point, if you feel like you need to bake for your under eyes, you can definitely do that. So for this, I'm going to be using the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil, and I'm just going to be using it with a clean sponge. I'm not pressing hard at all, I'm very lightly tapping it underneath the eyes. Because I already applied my bronzer, I'm going to be using this to kind of cut out the cheek contour as well. So we're gonna let this sit for another 10 minutes and then we'll be back to brush everything off. So now we're gonna wipe off the product, and you wanna use a big fluffy brush. So this is the Real Techniques blush brush. It's really dense. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna dip it into the translucent powder first and then brush off the product. You don't wanna use the brush just by itself. That's really when you get the kind of grayness peeking through from underneath the makeup. For underneath my eyes, I'm basically gonna like flick off the powder, but I'm not gonna apply a lot of pressure. And at the end, you want to set your makeup with a finishing spray of some sort. You can use just plain rose water if you want to for more of like an everyday thing. If you're wearing more of like a full face of makeup and you need your makeup to last longer, you can go ahead with more of a commercial setting spray, and for that I love the Skindinavia makeup finishing spray. So that is the finished look. That is my updated concealer routine. I really love this new way of doing my concealer. I feel like not only does it last all day, it really helps to hide your dark circles. So if you find this helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.